Indian Vintage Dark Horse Black Beauty. For 2021, the Indian Vintage has been updated with this Dark Horse model that swaps chrome bling for matte black paint. It's quite the dark night. We'd only just returned the BMW R18 and were days later riding a close rival, the Indian Vintage Dark Horse, so it was quite the big cruiser coincidence. How similar? These two are both big retro-style cruisers with hulking twin-cylinder engines, weigh the same, and have virtually identical torque figures. Where they differ is in engine design, V-twin versus Boxer twin, and price, the American being $10K less expensive, so is the BMW worth the extra? That's what we wanted to determine in our week with the Black Shadow. And that's precisely what the Dark Horse descriptor is all about. Where once there were chrome highlights, now there's black paint on this updated version of the Vintage, right down to the exhaust and the engine cases. Only the polished cooling fin edges break up the noir theme and help outline the shape of that Whopper Thunderstroke 116 cubic inch, 1890cc V-twin. What's nice about this model is that it comes with leather panniers, about the only part of the bike sporting chrome, weirdly, while an easily removable screen is an option that means you can also tour with the DH. It also gets standard fit cruise control, which you'd rate as pretty much essential for long-distance riding. The other main difference between this and the BMW is that the Indian is belt drive, as opposed to shaft drive for the German, and while there's essentially no maintenance with either, the belt needs replacing every once in a while. On the upside, this final drive system is not as heavy as a shafty, nor as wasteful of power. Cruisers are all about fair weather riding, but windless days aren't common. And when it's hosing with rain or blowing a gale, naked bikes suck. That's when a detachable screen comes into its own. This one moves as you steer, not ideal as it can affect your lines. But we didn't notice that with the 14-inch unit supplied. They come in various sizes and are quick-release items. It takes about 10 seconds to unclip or reposition. The one on our bike was a bit short and produced some buffeting, but it sure did keep the rain off. For touring, a taller screen might be the go, though this shorty certainly looks the part. On still days you'd go without. With bikes such as this, long of wheelbase and rake, the turns are generally large arcs, a point not lost on this rider when making a U-turn on a tight road. Thankfully the mass is nicely centralized. It's a much easier bike to ease off the side stand than the R18 with its outrigger slugs. And it's also easier to maneuver as a result. There's no reverse like with the BMW, and it isn't missed. Anyhow, the DH also comes standard with running boards, laid back bars for a natural upright riding position, and just a single seat. You can use the rear fender as a base for extra gear that doesn't fit in the panniers, since it's solid and sighted right between the two luggage holders. A black skirted front fender features the Indian war bonnet figurehead, a traditional item. As mentioned, black is the new chrome here, right down to the single tank mounted instrument, which is really set too low for a quick speed reference. Fortunately, its natural gait is around 100 km/h anyway. Revs you scroll to in the info screen, which is pretty typical of bikes like this. There, you'll note car-like revs at 100 km/h, around 2,300 RPM. This particular bike sounds a bit ornery because it has undergone the Stage 1 upgrade, which includes a high-flow air intake and slip-on oval mufflers, with an 8% hike in output, up from the 69 kilowatts and 171 Nm at 3,000 RPM stock. While there's plenty of noise, it's not excessive, enough to let others know you're coming up the inside. When you're downshifting and throttle blipping, this can sometimes result in an explosion of petrol in the pipes. Unexpected and epic. The output figures pretty much overlay those of BMW's Big Boxer, only this pulls from lower down in the rev range without complaint, from 1,300 RPM happily. Neither, it should be said, is found wanting in the torque department. And both are vibe-free with crystal clear mirror images at all legal road speeds. Like the R18, the DH has 3 ride modes. Once you've experienced the throttle response of the sport setting, there's really no going back. For acceleration, these two behemoths are neck and neck. Funnily enough, the Indian got to 100 km per hour quicker when starting off in second gear. The BMW proved faster by 0.2 sec, but the Indian turned that around by being 0.2 sec quicker on the overtake. For quick stops, the American also took the honors, with 3 ABS efforts from open road speed, inside the best the BMW could produce. The vintage's optimum of 36 meters and change easily beat out the 39.36 meters effort of the R18. So for performance, you'd probably say not much in it, perhaps the Indian by a nose. It's certainly much quicker than the Indian Chief we rode a few years ago when it first touched down here. But then this has a bigger capacity motor too. Indian Vintage Dark Horse, 21,399 pounds. Reborn Indian's big cruiser V-twins are possibly the grandest and most glorious traditional cruisers of all, and certainly among the most expensive. Ranging from the basic cruiser vintage to the bagger Chieftain and Springfield, to the full dresser Roadmaster, and with prices ranging from 18 to £30k, all tick virtually all the cruiser boxes. Engines are the same glorious Thunderstruck 1811cc V-twin, although Indian also recently introduced its new water-cooled Challenger. Their chassis share decent cycle parts, enough to inspire a raft of Harley updates since, and style, detailing, comfort and quality are all first-rate. The Vintage has replaced the Chief as Indian's basic cruisers, and, with its classic Indian flared fender, and with the Dark Horse version's pure naked stance, it's Indian's purest cruiser. American V-twin cruisers don't get bolder, better or classier.